Welcome back to the Rosie Rose Podcast, a space for real stories, raw healing, and the moment that changed us. Today, we're diving into silence most people run away from, the kind that transform you. My guest, Allison, has sat through the intensity of the 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat, not once, not twice, but 9 times. So, no talking, no distraction, no phones, just you, your breath, and everything you've been avoiding. We'll explore what keeps her coming back, what it's like to face yourself without escaping, and how this practice has shaped her life, relationship, and healing. Whether you never meditated a day in your life or you've been curious about what really happens when the mind goes still, this one's for you. Let's drop in. What's up, Allison? How are you doing today?
Hey Rose, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, I am a teacher in the Bay Area, and uh, I also do a lot of uh, like music and dance that comes from Africa and also African diaspora type and yoga. I just love doing fun th stuff, and I started Vipassana when I was about 30, and it was 2001, and I did it right before I went to Cuba. So it was I remember exactly the time, and it was the first one was really, they've all been actually really hard, but but the first one I didn't understand what was going on at all. So I waited a long time before I went back. But yeah, that's just a
Yeah.
quick intro.
Wow. So you did it 2001. 2001, I was like 19 years old.
Yeah.
I wasn't didn't know anything about meditation or anything like that. But what led you to do your first meditation retreat?
Oh, actually, so my mom, when my mom and my father, they separated, and right after that, she went to Vipassana, and I was probably like 9, and I remember she came back and she brought these VHS tapes that had Goenka on them, and I'd put them in, and I'd be like watching it, and I'm like, this is so weird. Some guy just sitting there talking about, you know, all the stuff he talks about because he's actually really funny, but I don't. Obviously, you can't really get it unless you're at the center doing the meditation. So that's where I first heard of it. And then the second time I was walking around the street, Hate Street in San Francisco, and I ran into someone that I knew from college, I think. And they were like, yeah, I just got back from Vipassana. And I was like, that was the second time. And then the third time, I was at the Berkeley Farmers Market, and I ran into someone else who had just gone, and they mentioned it. And I was like, oh, third time. And that's when I was like, oh, let me go check it out. I was feeling, I was turning 30, almost turning 30. And I was just like, yeah, things, maybe it'll help me like clarify some things um, and then I went to this center, which was the only center in California at that time, North Fork. And I had this teacher named Arthur who, and the I think the center was bigger than the center we went to even then,
Hmm.
because it just seemed like it was a sea of people. I sit more in the front of the meditation hall now because they put the older students farther forward. So I just remember being in like this sea of people and just it's just like what is going on? And and the center was quite large also, like to walk to your room and back to the meditation hall, you had to really take like a 10-minute walk. So it was from what I remember, we were all crowded around the bathrooms after the sits and stuff. It's arranged a little differently there. It's bigger. And yeah, Arthur was the teacher, and I didn't realize it was Arthur until later, but I can tell you that story later. Um, yeah, and I guess Arthur is a an assistant teacher who's apparently he's given more courses than Goenka actually. And
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't really know he was like that famous until later. when I ran into him again in Brazil, which is where I did my second and third course. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you did one. Okay. How many locations have you been to then?
Yeah, so the first location was North Fork, which is here in California near Yosemite. And it's beautiful. It's in the foothills, very close, yeah, to Yosemite National Park. And then the second course, I was in Brazil. I had moved to Brazil for a few years. And I got to that place again where I was like, oh, I need some clarity. So let me go meditate. And I found there was a center in Rio, and I was like, okay, let me check this out. So I get to the center. It was much harder work to get to the center in Brazil because I didn't have a car, and I just was yeah, I had to fly to Rio. Then I feel like I took a bus. I took a bus to this little town. And then I think I took a taxi to I took a taxi to the center. And then when you get to the center, you have to fill out the paperwork. Like, when have you taken Vipassana before? When was your last course? Who was your last teacher? And I got to that spot that says, who was your last teacher? And I was thinking, I don't remember what the name of the teacher was.
Yeah.
And I look up and I see Arthur right there. And I was like, that was him. That was my last teacher. I felt so good at that moment. I was just like, oh, this is meant to be. And I'm like, what's his name? And they're like, that's Arthur. So I was like, okay. So I put down Arthur. And and then the course was really hard because I had just broken up with someone who's really, really nice person. Just a fabulous human being who actually lives in Hawaii now and is like a lifeguard and just amazing person. But it just wasn't there, and I just knew it. And so I stayed. I did that course, and then my friends were coming to do the next course. My friends from Brazil that are like Canadian, and one of them's, let's see, one of them was from Colorado, the other one was from Canada, and they were dear friends, and they were on their way to Vipassana with me, and I was gonna be the server, and they were gonna sit, and then I finished that 10-day course, and I was like, oh, I just don't feel like I'm ready yet. I'm not. I need to do another course, and I talked to Arthur, or I threw the idea around, and he was like, "Oh, well, you can sit this next course too, and then after that, you can serve for the Satipatthana, which it's a little bit different course." So I was like, "Okay, so I'll sit again, and then I'll do Satipatthana."
So
So
when you said you weren't ready yet, what does that mean?
I just felt, I don't know, I just felt, I think sometimes people get into a space when they go where they're like, because I heard other people say that this time too, that like when the 10th day comes, they're like, or the ninth, whenever we start talking again,
Mhm.
they don't really feel ready to like talk again. They just feel like they want to stay in that like contemplative space. And I
Yeah.
think that's where I was at. And yeah, because all of a sudden the thing ends and then you're just like, oh hey, you just talking to everyone like nothing happened, and it's just you just went through such a deep experience, you know. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you want some popcorn? Like I don't know. Like it's just so you go so deep, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I just
You
felt like I wasn't ready.
Yeah, so that's how I felt on when we were able to talk.
Yeah,
It felt good to talk like the first like 10, 15 minutes, but
yeah,
after that I got overwhelmed.
yeah.
Like I couldn't like have like small talk, like I couldn't like talk anymore. My mind was just like it was just overwhelming that actually I went into my room and like kind of like like just sat there just because I'm like, oh, I just need silence. Isn't that? I was like, whoa. But it was funny because when I went into my room, there was another lady in there that was resting too. So it was kind of felt like, for me, like at first, I'm like, yeah, we get to talk, but the overwhelm of like just hearing everybody, like, oh, I need to like just chill a little bit.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did you feel ready? Like when you finished that? I mean, it was your first time, so I can see that yes, I'm ready. Because I did the 10 days, I'm done.
I was ready to go home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was I was so ready to go home. Um, at that moment in time when I was there, like I felt very content. But then for me, it's like, uh, for me, because it was hard to reflect in that moment in time when I was there. For me, was reflecting when I was driving back home.
Mm,
When I was
mm.
driving back home, I was filled with so much love and joy and compassion, and I was just like crying, like tears of of gratitude, So I was just driving, like tears of gratitude, crying, and then this man cut me off, and I was like, "What the fuck, motherfucker?" And then just came back to like, "Okay, I'm here now. I'm fine. I'm fine."
That's funny.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah,
in that moment of just, I felt a lot of gratitude and joy afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah. So, because it's like, what was your experience of this time going in for your ninth time?
yeah.
How was this different from all the other times that you've been?
Yeah, that's a really good question because all the other times, well, the first time I had no idea, so it was I didn't have any, I don't think I had fear, and we did have cell phone. We used to keep the cell phones like on us or in the car or something because we didn't have
Oh,
smartphones, right? So it was
yeah,
just, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal we weren't as connected to our phones in 2001.
yeah,
Actually, yeah, I had a flip phone. I had a flip phone or a Nokia, I can't remember.
yeah,
It probably didn't even work in that area. And then the the Brazil time, I was really excited um, when I went. And then I think all the other times I've kind of been counting the days when I'm there. Like I'm like, and even this time I did count the days. Like, oh, let's see, we're on day 5. Because every day they do kind of say this is day 1, this is day 2, this is day 3, and so every time I am. But this time I was not as focused on how many days left. This time
mm,
I was more. I was really trying my hardest to meditate like during every single minute that they gave us to meditate.
yeah,
Because if you're doing that, then there's no being like there's no thinking about, oh, how many more days do we have left? Because you have so many minutes that you're supposed to be meditating,
yeah.
uh, that it's like there is really no time to just sit around and think like how many more days left. Um,
Yeah, because if you think that you're causing your own suffering.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like every time I think I've probably done everything wrong. Like I know my first time, I think I started sleeping in the mornings when I knew that we didn't have to be in the hall to meditate. And I would try to meditate in my bed and then I would like fall over, and then other times I've yeah, I try to maintain the schedule. As I think it's better work like when you do maintain the schedule, like the
Mm,
4:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And I do like to go to the meditation hall like around 5:30, 6, because they
mhm.
always, even if the teachers usually come actually, so it's kind of cool to sit in there with them and they play chanting. So
Okay, I
yeah.
missed that.
Yeah, if you go to the meditation hall in the morning at they usually show up around like a little before 6, like 5:45.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think
was there
I only woke up in the morning tw twice. I only been in the hall twice the whole 10 days in the
in the
morning.
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The morning is every time and they put different chants, and there's one of them that I like in particular. All the chants are on the app too. There's I
An
don't know if
app?
yeah,
I don't
there's
know
an
about this
app
app.
that has there's an app that has the sits, and it's called Dhamma, this one. And it shows you like how many people are
What is it called? The app called?
called let's see. I think it's called Vipassana. Let's see.
I didn't know they had an app, so that's cool. I
Yeah,
will.
let me close it and see what the The thing looks like a little of Vipassana meditation as taught by, yeah,
Okay.
I can get it to you. But
Yeah, yeah.
it has, you can even apply to courses. There's a library with the discourse recordings,
Hmm.
and it shows you how many people are meditating at any time.
Oh, wow.
Like, let's see right now, daily practice. There's 672 students meditating
Oh,
right.
wow. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
But
cool.
you have, yeah, and like so you can get all these recordings of this is what I meditate with.
Yeah,
If I,
I can't hear it. Nope, I can't hear it.
yep. Yeah,
Maybe because of the Zoom app.
it's just the chanting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but on where did I talk about the app? Yeah, I lost my train of thought, but I, what, oh, in the morning. Yeah. In the morning you get the chanting, which I like. But I think overall coming to this one, I was just more, for some reason also on this course I was my body wasn't hurting as much as it used to, so
Oh,
that was
okay.
actually really nice. Yeah. um and going back, you asked about the locations that I did it. So I've done it once in, the first one was in North Fork, which is near Yosemite. The second two were in Rio.
Hmm.
Now there's a ton of centers in Brazil, which before the only one was Rio. And
Wow.
I met like a bunch of really cool meditators down there. And like I meditated with people in Rio de Janeiro. Like they have a whole group, and they were like building an eco village. And I did buy a piece of land, but it was kind of, I didn't I don't know. I didn't complete the sale, but anyway, I don't know what's going on up there, but it's really hard to get into that course. Like I've tried since, and it's a small center. And so, but they have like Sao Paulo and different places. And then I meditated in Delaware, which was, it's a small place. And that one was interesting because it was the first course there. And so there were only 13 women because they didn't have the capacity to do men and women.
Hmm.
So uh yeah, so that way like they just had women. And we were all kind of in the same building that was the dining hall.
Yeah.
And so it was just really nice because the teacher was kind of, I was going through something then too, and the teacher was like, "Oh, just come talk to me every day if you want, you know." And it was, so there was no like huge line to talk to the teacher or anything because the total people were 13. And and then after that, the next five were all at Northern California. Because once I found that center, I was like, "Oh, this center is great because it's small and it's the closest to my house." And I just decided that that's my center. Yeah. And this time I actually stayed a little longer. I stayed on, I had a feeling again, I had that same feeling like where I didn't want it to end. And then I asked the teacher like 2 days before we started speaking, or a day before we started speaking. I was like, "Hey, I kind of want to stay here because I know if you stay, you can do volunteer stuff." And I was like, "Oh, what do you guys have going on, you know, this next week?" And she was like, "Well, actually, we're doing a garden day, and if you want to join us." And I was like, "Oh, I love gardening. Yeah, so I'll stay." So I stayed Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday night, and
Hmm.
then I left on Wednesday. So I wasn't like, and also I'm a teacher, so I have the summer off, so I was like able um to take those few days, and we did a huge gardening day on Monday, like huge. We weeded and we thinned everything out, and it was incredible. And then met new people, right? So a couple of people came in from down here from Bay Area, and one guy who was about to meditate, so he came a few days early. Um, and I got to meet some of the servers that were serving on our cart course. And just, it's more relaxed when you're at the center when there's no course, obviously, because when the course is happening, everyone's just really focused on keeping the course going and making the food. The food is like the big thing,
Yeah.
right? And so
It's
when the,
so. organized, well
Yeah,
organized than I even expected. Everything's on time. Like the
yeah,
food was really good. Like
yeah,
I lost like 5, 6 pounds when I came back.
yeah,
You too? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Are you, yeah, yeah, how's that going? I always lose a few pounds, and I feel like it's also due to like mindful eating,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
having like a schedule where you always eat at the same time.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't have that in my daily life.
Yeah. And also it gives your digestion a chance to do its job without, adding more food on top of it. So
Yeah,
we're giving it a bigger window for it to digest and do its thing. And my digestion there was like great.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's weird. Like I feel like your body kind of kicks into this if you're doing the work correctly, if you're trying to do and you're able to focus and meditate. I feel like your central nervous system like unwinds, and that's one of the things he was saying about the physicist, I think, that was like the story where he was like bouncing on his shoulder or something because he was all the sankaras, like all the bad stuff was coming out.
Yeah.
And I feel like I feel like this in yoga, one of my teachers calls it I don't know, some kind of just unwinding like of my nervous system, of maybe my my spine and my sacrum, like the cerebral spinal fluid. Maybe it just feels like that's what I felt this time. I felt like truly a connection, like mind body, because I felt I have a really hard time connecting with my body as I'm just very, very brainy. Like my brain is just, I speak Spanish, Portuguese. I can speak French pretty well. I'm learning Italian. I'm just like I'm very intellectual. I read everything I can, like the news. I just all I do all day is news and listen, and I learn music, and I'm just all brain. And this time, see, I forget even to breathe. But this time, I really felt that mind body connection because I felt again like I didn't feel like I was in the same pain that I usually get in my back. Like I get the pain in the same place, and I do think it's a sankara, which we can talk about. But I feel and my knees weren't hurting. It was super weird. I talked to the teacher, and she was like, "Yeah, I think that means you're doing the work because." I continued to meditate after that last course I did 2 years ago, and I never actually full stopped. Even though I wasn't able to maintain 2 hours a day,
Yeah.
but I still like never like completely stopped meditating. I would definitely meditate a few times a week and and like connect in with that place.
Yeah. And so how's your practice now after coming back? Like how long are you meditating for?
Yeah, so most days I'm still doing 2 hours, one in the morning, one at night. I've last night I had guests for ever since I came back. I had house guests. Well, actually, no, a couple of days after I came back, I had house guests. So um, when I have people here, it's a little harder. So I like hide in my room or like um, also my friend. Yeah, we did a dinner for her last night at a friend's house, and we were there from like we left at like 3:30 or 4 and didn't get back till 9:30. And so I didn't meditate last night. So, but yeah, I feel so much better when I meditate twice a day. Like I just feel the difference in my interactions with people.
Yeah.
Like I just feel I have a more measured response to whatever it is that they're, you know, especially with my students. Like I'm a high school teacher and I just feel after the last one, I felt like I remembered people's names better and like what
Mhm.
their issues were, like their learning disabilities or and whatever other, medical issues or things that and just their face. I don't know, I just started being more just I guess you would say mindful
Yeah.
of who they are and and just easier for me to determine how well they're learning and all kinds of stuff that's really, just became smarter. I feel like, I mean, I think it's proven that meditation makes you smarter. Like you're firing more neurons in your
Mhm.
brain and you're making more connections and and I also notice, I feel like it improved my yoga practice too because I can feel like, oh, when my shoulder's a little higher, or like I need to use my lats, or just whatever it is. I feel like we're just more connected to our bodies when we do the body scan,
Yeah.
even the 10-day course. Like, I don't think even if you don't maintain the practice, like, it works for you. It still works for you. Like, you have that experience of all of those hours of meditation, and you have released like all of those sankharas, like all of those negative things that collected inside you. So it's never going to go away. Like, it's always there, even if you never go back to another Vipassana. That's why even my mom, like, she went once, so she's always like an old student, and
Yeah.
because she's been through the experience,
And has
it's
she been back?
no, she hasn't
Oh,
gone
she
back.
just did it once. That's still good though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
still
she did
cool.
it. I think it was in the 80s. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
wow. So
yeah,
how has your relationship to pain, like emotional or physical, changed through this repeated practice?
that's a good question. Well, the physical pain, I think I'm very sensitive to physical pain. So if things hurt, I'll be on it. Like, I'll do, I don't know. I can tell if I don't do as much yoga as I need to, like, my back will start hurting, or. So I will react to the pain and do something about it. Um, but I don't think that's not the same kind of reaction that he was talking about. Like, the reaction that he's talking about is like scratching your head when it itches, like when you're meditating, like you just want to just sit there and observe instead of like reacting to whatever's going on when you're actually meditating. But the pain, emotional pain, I think, yeah, I just think it's true what he says that okay, so last night I was talking to my friends, and my best friend, the one that was visiting, that was our last night together, and she's like, "Well, you still get really mad." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get really mad, but I probably get really mad less than I would have gotten really mad before." It's like
Ah,
it's not gonna like change you into a person that never gets mad or never feels pain, but it will lessen the reaction. It will, like, instead of being mad for an hour, you're going to be mad for 45 minutes, and I'll take
yeah,
it because she's like working on not reacting to things that family member, like, just the typical, like, you live with your family, and like there's things that cause you to react, and it's like mo if you're not doing the meditating, you're like, you have to consciously be like, oh, I'm not going to react. Oh, I'm not going to react. But the beauty about the meditation is that you're from inside, you're like, you can feel it when you start reacting, and then you're just like, what am I doing? And then, but yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. It's like, it's going to be like 45 minutes instead of an hour that you're mad, you know?
yeah, yeah. And I feel like that's where the work is when you come outside of the center. And
Yeah.
for me too is reaction. Like I noticed that because I still have reaction. There's days where I'm unconscious and I just like react. And then after reacting for a little bit, then I come back, I'm like, oh shit, this is the work right here. It's, you know, but now that I'm aware that I had reacted, it's like, okay, next time, how can I do better? How can I react differently? Or how can I, learn to, you know, um, calm my inside so it doesn't just blurt out and say something. And this is the ongoing work here. Like nobody's perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna have reaction, and that's where I learned from my own reaction.
Yeah, and even just observe what is going on. Like
Yeah,
I feel like the more you meditate, the more you feel like I can feel the actual sensation of my heart. Like, if somebody says something mean, I can feel like, oh, the
yeah,
heart. Oh, and then I'm like, just think like, why would somebody want to hurt my little heart, like, so I just like sit there and think about it, and then maybe I say something really wise to the person, like, that was really unkind what you said, and I'd really appreciate an apology if you have one, or Like, and this is what I say to my students, because they're teenagers and they don't really, it just comes, it just comes out. And I'm like, I'd really appreciate if if you could think about it and apologize to me if it feels right, like so my main thing is anger. So you asked about pain, but my main like big thing is like hatred and anger with so they just come all my whole life. I realized on my last course that I was even angry as a child. Like when I would be trying to brush my hair and it would be tangled, I
Hmm.
would get mad and I would start hitting my head with my hairbrush. And where does that come from? Like literally, nobody taught me to do that, right? So my main thing is just recognizing my anger, and I get that, that hot feeling and just like kind of tight right here.
Ah.
And and then and then I just observe it and I'm like, okay. I'm mad. I mean, I can just look at it and just feel it and just see how long it lasts, and that's what I try to do. But sometimes, of course, I will react and be like, "Fuck you," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like we're
yeah.
not perfect,
Ah.
but yeah, that's what I was trying to say to my friend. I was like, well, I mean, you're trying to overpower your subconscious, like you're trying to overpower and be like, I'm not gonna react. And it's like great, like good that you're recognizing that you're reacting and everything. But like, why am I spending 2 hours a day doing this? Why do I spend like 900 hours of my life at the course and probably going to be doing more? Is because I don't want to have to go through that like muscling over and being like, oh, I'm not going to react. I want to like I don't know. But also people are different. So like that's
Yes.
what I was trying to tell her. I was like, if you went one time, you might be good forever. Like you probably weren't born with as much like natural anger that I was born with. Like I don't know many children that are trying to brush their hair and it can't brush and then they start hitting their head with a hairbrush like hard. So I just think I was born with those sankaras, the whatever for whatever reason. And I just I'm just having anger like I was born with that anger naturally. And so
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure like after 9 times, yeah, no, it's definitely lessened for sure. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of work.
And talking about anger, because before I did the Vipassana, I've been doing
Vipassana.
Vipassana. I did like Tit Chat Nun and Tara Brach, like silent meditation before.
Yeah.
So I've been meditating on a consistent base, not 2 hours, but like 15 to 20 minutes. Um, but that meditation, when I first got into it in 2006, 16, I got into meditation and I did it for like months, sitting down in my house, like just crying, just like releasing so much. And that was the point of my healing journey. And then later on, later in the years, I did somatic breathwork.
That's nice.
And when I did somatic breath work, the first time I did it, I was too much in my mind that I couldn't connect with my body. And I was kind of like, what the hell is this? Like, I just didn't surrender to the moment. And my monkey mind was playing too much. So the second time I did somatic breath work, I tapped into anger.
Mm.
And with somatic breath work, it's you're using your breath too, but you're feeling the sensation. So it's the opposite of no sight, like silence and just observing it. This one here, you're feeling the anger arise. And this anger, when it arises, like I was able to um like scream. Nobody was home, so this was my perfect time to do this. We have like a practitioner guiding you through this journey. So in that moment, I was feeling the anger, and for some reason, like I couldn't think of where the anger came from, but I just started screaming, like from the depths of my stomach, like, like I never like where did this voice come from, right? I was able to let it go, like scream, and then I was so angry and like my palm, my fist was banging on the ground. Like I was able to tap into this anger and let it all out. And after just like a Nisha, like everything is always changing, right? This anger transformed into sadness. I was so deeply saddened and I started crying like loudly, like, oh, like, because I just let it all out. After crying from this deep sadness, I was grieving. I was grieving my father's death at 7 years old.
Oh,
So this
wow.
anger that I was holding on to was not being able to grieve.
Mm.
And
In-
after from anger to feeling the deep sadness to just like grieving my father's death. And after uh I was able to just like release this anger in a healthy way, not hurting anybody, just releasing it out of my body, mental clarity. Uh it was like a transformation.
Right.
And that's when I knew this is the work that I got to do. So I became a somatic breathwork. I'm a somatic breathwork practitioner now, and I help and guide people through breathwork to feel whatever sensations in your body, to
Yeah.
give it a space and time. And just like Vipassana,
Vipassana.
Vipassana,
Vipassana. Yeah.
Vipassana. After, because that's so opposite of just learning to observe,
Right.
and this one is like feeling the feelings and letting it out through your voice, through your body, shaking it out, releasing out whatever it is that your body is wanting to release.
Yep.
A next level of freedom.
Yeah, we also, I would say in forest yoga, we do that also because I like even my teacher training,
Yeah,
there was a woman who every single day during the morning practice just, and I know her still, she's like, we follow each other. She's in LA, but she was a body worker and she just would just have this release every, and that's forest yoga is known for people being able to have a safe space to have that release. But we did ask to like scream into a towel or
yeah,
because she was screaming like every single day. And we encourage it. We encourage to feel like that too. So
yeah,
it is interesting to compare the two. That's good that you saw that. Like there, one is like non-react, just observe, non-react. That's Vipassana, and then the somatic breath work is going into the feeling everything and just using your breath to move that
yeah.
energy. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
could see the same practice in different ways, like they're both uh uh great practices, you know.
right.
Yeah, it's
And
just
they can go together,
yes,
they
they to
yeah,
me, I that's exactly right. It wovens together for me. It just makes you a better person. It makes you like, you know, maybe you need to go a little bit deeper in the anger. Maybe you need to release it out in a safe place.
yeah, and then you go meditate and you're like, oh, it's just anger. It just feels like this. And then
Yeah, you
it all changes
transform that
every day.
anger.
Like
Yeah.
you might wake up and say, I want to meditate, or you might wake up and say, I want to scream.
Yeah, yeah, dance it out or whatever it is. Yeah. So, one moment, is there a moment in your retreat that really cracked you open?
I have to say that I really notice when people are I notice how compassionate and loving the ATs are in general. Like, not every single one, but we were lucky to have a really just, uh, Annie was our AT, Annie for the females. And I just feel like her level of compassion and just sweetness, I think that broke me open because um, I, I was getting angry at night, like because I would want to ask a question, and there was one student that would literally like run up to her after every night, like discourse or sitting, after every sitting at night, and I was like, oh man. Like I'm sitting right up in front. Like I just want to, how can I just I'm not going to like jump. And then I was like, well, I should just let the new students ask their questions because I've already had a bunch of times and I don't really have that big of questions. But you kind of want to check in and be like, oh, is this like what's happening? Why am I not feeling pain this time? Or just little things.
Mhm.
And then so then I would leave the hall and I would go walk around a little bit and then come back and I would like look through the window and it was so tender. There were like all these students kind of like sitting around Annie and just looking up to her and she was answering their questions and they're all listening. And I used to love to do that too. In my first courses, I would stay for our third, just listen to all the people asking the questions after the nighttime, discourse and sitting, because I just felt like it was a way for me to hear people's voices, and it was a way for me to connect with other people without speaking because we can't talk. So I just found it so it turned into love from anger to delight at like seeing how tender it was for them to be sitting there uh asking her questions. And towards the end, um I even stayed and like listened to the person who would run up and ask questions, and it was so cute too. It was like the questions were so good. There was like these really specific questions about words that Goenka would say in the discourse. Like she had question about the different brains, or just they were so detailed, and she remembered the words, and I was like, wow, these are really good questions actually. And then another one was so cute, like I just started really feeling just some kind of tenderness towards the new students that were asking all these questions, and they were just so cute. Like the other one, there was another woman who I found out she just finished her PhD in like computer science, uh and she was working somewhere in the Bay Area, just brand new, moved here. And her energy was like a 5-year old. I don't know if you if you noticed that person, but it was, at first I was like, wow, because like she sat down in a chair in front of me when we were doing the tea in the afternoon, and she was like this, like fanning herself with a fan or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm out of here right now. Like I can't do this right now. But I just observed her for a while, and just she looked like a 5-year-old, and it was just delightful. Like how are you an adult and you have that like 5-year-old energy? And I remember her question towards the end. She was like, she asked Annie, she's like, so are we gonna get to know like how you got to Vipassana, and like about your life? It was so cute. And then Annie was like, I mean, we might get to that.
Yeah.
He was so in demand at the end, like on the last day. I don't know if you went ever to ask her questions, but even I waited till the last day to sign up for an interview thinking, oh, people wouldn't want to have any more questions. But it was the opposite. It was like people that signed up did not even were not even on the paper, just showed up for questions. And then the manager was like, okay, everyone, first of all, it was like 10 minutes. And then now you guys just get 5 minutes. And now you guys just get 4 minutes per question, per question. Oh yeah. And I think that was the day when I was like, oh yeah, I want to stay. And that was Saturday. Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, she gave me some stuff on anger. Actually, I just pulled it out of my backpack, which was so sweet. Nobody's ever done that to either. Like she gave me some paperwork that shows like sankharas
Hmm.
and anger, and how it's like a cycle that goes around, and then she handed it to me, and I was like, well, I think I want to stay. And then she was like, oh, that'd be great. Like, do you like gardening? And I was like, I love gardening. I have a garden. And she was like, okay, we're doing a garden day Monday. So we'll talk then.
Yeah.
And I'm
So, what
like,
was your question about anger to her?
oh, my question about anger was, what was my question about anger? Oh, yeah. So my question about anger was because I wanted to get her perspective, but on the last course I did 2 years ago, I was so angry. This is a whole story. You want to hear the whole story?
Sure.
Okay. The whole story is about how I realized how angry I was. Um, the Vipassana course that I did in the same place 2 years ago exactly. Um, the teacher was not like, she was older and just didn't, I just wasn't, my, the AT was, I feel like she was like a New Yorker or something, kind of like hard exterior a little bit. Maybe it looked like very intellectual to me and just kind of intimidating for some reason. And because they're all different, right? But I feel like she was maybe the most intimidating teacher I've ever had. And so, but I do feel like I learned almost the most from her because that's when I actually started feeling the when my mind is actually equanimous and when it's not.
Hmm.
So that was like a huge like shift up level for me because it's really hard, I feel like, to understand when you're equanimous and when you're not. And I think it's just through practice it happens. But I was wanting to ask Annie the same question that I asked that other teacher. So the reason why that other teacher was so important to me was because on the first or the third day, maybe they, how they check in with you and ask you how you're doing. Can you feel your breath? Like, are you
Yeah.
feeling your breath here? So I was like, yeah, I'm feeling my breath. But since I do breath work with yoga, I was like, when you're paying attention to your breath, it's kind of hard to notice if it's natural or not. And I was trying to ask her, how can I tell if my breath is natural or not? Which I already knew the answer to, but I was looking for some answers. And instead of answering my question, she was like, come talk to me during the noontime interviews. So my secret to Vipassana is to sleep every break you get. So morning break, eat your breakfast, go lay down. If you fall asleep, great. Lunchtime, eat your lunch, go lay down. If you fall asleep, fantastic. Evening tea time, go get your tea, drink it, whatever. If lay down, if you fall asleep, great. So normally for the first few days, I'm sleeping like during all the breaks because I'm exhausted because I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and meditating all day. So especially Anapana is really tiring. You get that you're just focusing on the breath going in and out, and it's like it's very tiring. And so a meditator in Brazil told me that secret. She's like, oh, I sleep through the whole, first 3 days because Anapana is exhausting. And I was like, oh wow, great idea. So I've done that ever since. So I'm like, the teacher said, come talk to me during the noon interviews. And I was like, no, I want to sleep.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go talk to her because I was fine. Like the only reason why I asked about the breath was because it's hard to know if it's natural breath when you're used to like controlling your breath for yoga and then you're just like trying to focus on the breath. You're like, is this natural breath or not?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, of course it is. It's natural breath. It's just hard when you're focusing on the breath to know like uh, I think you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So I knew that I was fine. I knew that like my answer was answered just from my own self. So
Mhm.
then instead of just letting me be, she called me back for like the manager came and talked to me and was like, "Hey, she wants to see you." So I was like, oh, wow, that was the first time anyone had ever said that they wanted to see me.
Yeah.
Like they always just let you sign up. So I was like, okay. So I went and talked to her and I was like, yeah, I got it. Like I know it's my natural breath, no problem. And I think I asked her one other thing. And did you go to the noon interviews?
I did one, I think on day 7.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this one was in the meditation hall. So it was for some reason they alternate like that little room can be used by either men or women. So the women one on that course was the interviews were in the meditation hall. So I was like, okay, go in the meditation hall for the noon interview, and she's sitting there on the chair, and it's just kind of intimidating. So that was fine. Then on Vipassana day, which is day 4, I washed my hair, was like feeling good. And I sat through the whole explanation of Vipassana without moving. And I was really happy about that because normally I have to move. And I moved a lot during my first courses, which I was never able to hold Aditan. I was never able to stay like barely ever. I just wasn't, I just didn't tolerate the pain. I was just like, I can't. I don't want to hurt my knees. I don't want to hurt whatever. Um, and so after I sat for that time and I had just washed my hair and we did Vipassana, which is not as exhausting as Anapana, then I'm walking out of the hall and there was these women that were doing like all these cute little art around the camp. So there was like pine cone art and there was rock art, and somebody was making, they like found all these white rocks and made a necklace around one of the trees, and it reminded me of the necklaces that I'd been making, like these stone necklaces. And so I was really happy to see the art because it was so pretty. Like they were doing a really beautiful job. And so I made a happy face near the dining hall, just kind of with leaves or whatever. And it was really fast. It was like this big. I think it took me like 5 minutes. But in the meantime, the manager saw me and I wasn't trying to hide. Like I forgot that I was just such a good mood. I was in the moment and I made a happy face. So then the next day, I'm having my tea and just drinking, and I hear someone saying my name. And I'm like, wait, is someone saying my name? It's so weird. Like, oh, hey, yeah. And she was like, oh, the teacher wants to talk to you in the noon interviews. And I was like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So oh my gosh. She's like, you can go first though, because there was like a whole lineup of people signed up. And I'm like, okay. So no nap today either, because right. So I day 5, I think. So I start walking over to the thing, and then I get there and there's other people going in, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going first. So just waiting. And then I get in there and she goes, it's come to my attention that you've been spending your break time doing art around the camp. And I was like, whoa. And I'm like on the ground, and she's
Yeah.
sitting up on the chair, on the meditation chair, which is like higher, and it's just like this big meditation hall. And I'm just like, no, I haven't talked to anyone except for
Yeah.
her, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that's not me. Like that's not me that's doing all the art around the camp. And I was like, I made a happy face. That was it. And she was like, well, since you're sitting in the front row, like you need to be an example to the other students. So you cannot do artwork around the camp like that. We want people, we're here to meditate. We're not here to do art. And I was like, okay, of course. Like I totally understand.
Yeah.
No problem. And I might have asked her another question, but it just felt so intimidating at the time. And then I was like, I got into this whole ego thing, like, she ruined my course, my 10-day course. And I've waited like 2 years to come here, and now my course is ruined because I wasn't going to talk to anyone the whole time. I was going to try to not talk. And like, I was super mad for days. I could not, there were times I could not meditate for hours in the afternoon. I would just be like, I mean, maybe like an hour, which is a long time to not be able to meditate. I was just so mad. And I totally, that's when I realized like about the hitting my head on the hair with the hairbrush.
You're
Like
like
I
your
realized
worst
all the
own
times that
critics.
I would,
Yeah.
yeah, I went into all, like I remembered all these times when I was a child that I was like super angry, and I'm like, where does that come from? And then I also knew that I was going to tell this story and laugh about it. I knew, I was like, I'm going to laugh about this one day, but I just cannot get out of my anger right now. It's so weird. I was just so angry. And I was going to like tell on her and be like, that's a bad AT or whatever. And just all this stuff. And then finally, when it came to like day 8, this is 5, 6, 7, 8. Day 6 is a hard day. Day 6 was probably the hard day this time too. And I was just so mad. But then finally, when it came to the end, I was like, okay, I can realize like I got the gift out of this because now I realize when I'm equanimous and when I'm not, and
Mhm.
when I'm actually angry and when I'm just like faking the or not. I wouldn't say I'm never fake anger, but like I can feel when I'm angry and not. So that was like the biggest gift of that. So going back to asking Annie RT or AT this time, I was like, let me ask her the same question, because every time after that, it with that other teacher, I kept asking her every night. I was like, so why do we feel anger if it's a negative sensation, right? Why would we feel anger?
Mhm.
So why would we crave feeling anger? I couldn't understand. Why do I crave feeling anger? Because my body goes to that, right? anger, anger, anger. Why would my body crave anger? That's so weird. And she was like, this was the most brilliant, just one-liner. Because anger is a big sensation.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a big sensation. Your body feels craving for sensation. You crave, people crave alcohol, people crave cigarettes. Those aren't like positive. I mean, it is like a good sensation at the time, maybe, but like in the end, it's not positive. You get a hangover, you get you feel like all gross here from smoking a cigarette. Like, why do you feel that? Why do you feel craving for that, right? So anger is like a big sensation. And I just was curious to know what was Annie's take on it. So that's why she printed out that paperwork for me. And it's like this whole like cycle of Sankaras. But that the teacher that I was intimidated by, I feel like that was the one thing that made super sense to me. And that's why I realized I had to continue practicing, was because I connected in with that equanimous mind and that like feeling of like, okay, this is equanimous, like I can observe from this place. And and that was the biggest gift. Anger is a big sensation. That's
Oh,
it.
yes.
I
And
mean,
especially with anger too, it's like when I do somatic breath work, I don't know why, but I am like I love holding anger for people because you're there and I'm like, dude, let it out. Like, come on. It's in you. Don't hold it because sometimes anger it's right here too. Right here.
totally.
And
Yeah.
it's like because I remember doing I went to a women's retreat or doing breath work there, and this one lady I was working on, I was like, come on, like let it out. Use your voice. And to her, she grew up having asthma and that she's not able to like scream or let it out because of the asthma, having the identity of asthma. And then I was like, come on, use your voice. And she blurted out like, and she's just like, and she's like, afterwards, like, wow, I've been holding myself back because I said I had asthma that I couldn't, like scream or like let it out like that. And she came to this realization of like the identity that people hold on to. That's why when I feel like when we go to Vip, I'm trying to Vipassana. There you go. Yes, I feel like when you go there, like your ego get dissolved. It gets dissolved, and I remember being there, like, who am I? Right? Like your identity is like gone. And I feel like a little bit lost, but that's where the healing is when you have no identity. There's no label of, oh, I'm always been this way, or I have this, or blah, etc. And it's that part when you're nobody. That's where the healing begins. If you have labels on yourself, that's where you block yourself from uh, going deeper into yourself. So that was like I don't know where I was coming at, but um yeah, when you go there, I don't know what day. I think part is like day 6 or day 7 is where I'm like, who am I? I'm like, I don't know who I am anymore.
That's so awesome to hear that. Like I want to hear more about that because yeah, I feel like that experience where I made the happy face and then they came and like ruined my course, which turned out to be the best course for me because every time it is the best course and it's always hard. There's always something that happens weird. Um, but but I love that you connected in with that because that's what I had to battle was like I know that I'm gonna laugh at this later, but I just felt so like upset that she was like, you are spending your time making art and just like blamed all that on me when it wasn't me. It wasn't
Yeah.
me. I just did one little happy face,
Yeah.
like but even you're not supposed to, she's like, that's kind of like a communication. But I want to hear more about how you connected with like the who am I? It's kind of scary, right?
Yeah, because you're at that moment in time, and it was funny because my roommate felt the same. Like like her identity was like because she followed. I forgot what his name or I don't know, but she just felt kind of like is this right? Or like it was just like conflict, you know? And for me, it was just like, yeah, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, what am I doing here? But oh, it was great. And I didn't follow all the rules. I broke a few rules, like talking. I did talk because my roommate had the window open, or it was open, and she closed it. And I was like, dude, because the first couple of nights was so hot and we didn't have AC. So I was like, I don't want to go to ask the assistant teacher to tell the assistant teacher to like talk to her to open the like if I can open the window. So I was like, hey, can I open the window this much? And she was like,
Perfect.
she's like this, you know?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's fine. That's like a great use of words for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I believe in the noble silence because you don't want to dump all your trauma and complaining and pain to other people because I feel like that will just make the whole group like, yeah, let's leave, you
Yeah.
know? So I understand that part. And for me to just like to me, I didn't feel bad at all. Like, hey, can I
Yeah.
open the window this much?
That's great that you asked because otherwise it would have been like she would have been like, why is the window open? Like
Yeah, yeah. Or like, why is she complaining? Like, did I do
trippy, she might
something
have been
wrong?
tripping on you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also I even because
And you might have been tripping on her too, like, oh, is she mad that I opened the window?
yeah, yeah. I just want some clarity, and then
Okay.
I also talked to her, I think, on like the eighth night because I heard that she was like in her sleep, like I could hear her like moaning, like oh,
Oh,
like
wow.
I'm like,
Yeah.
like
Are you
so in that
okay?
morning, yeah, I was like, are you in pain? And she's like, yeah. And then I was like, I had like salon pass or arcana,
Arnica?
arnica. I had
Yeah.
that. So I was like, I have this if you want it, to use. Um, so I gave it to her, but I spoke again, even though you're not
Yeah.
supposed to. But I was like, I see her in pain and I have some like temporary pain relief. Like,
Yeah.
how can I not I don't know. For
Yeah.
me, I,
And
I
that's good because if you didn't do that, you might have been thinking about it like, or you could, I guess on that one, you could have put it like on her bed or something. That would have been an
yeah,
option.
yeah, yeah,
But then you might have thought like, oh, I wonder if she got mad that I put it there or whatever. You know what I mean? You just,
yeah.
yeah. No,
And
I
it's
think, I think you used your words in a wise way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like, don't like, complain or trauma dump your experience on somebody on like the first couple of days because
Yeah.
it's really when you sit down, you can hear what they said to you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like remembered her going like that for until now. Like you're just like, those were the only. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember for my first course, somebody, there was a girl that I guess she just wanted to dance. I don't know.
Yeah.
And she had kind of like a confrontation with the manager in front of me. And she was like, well, I just want to dance. And the manager was like, well, you can't dance here because it's distracting to other meditators. And so you're gonna have to leave if you don't stop dancing. And then the girl was like, okay, I'm leaving. So
Yeah.
I remember I was like, oh
Oh,
shit,
wow.
that's
Yeah.
scary. Like what? Like, am I gonna? But yeah, I think you just do the best you can, like as far
Yeah.
as following the rules. And I mean, the early morning thing, they do give you the choice of meditating in your room. So it's like, but I personally like, I think it's best if you can try your best to follow all the rules, of course. But if something's like not working for you, like he always says, give this technique a try. And then at the end of the course, you decide, if you keep going with it or not. And it's just very open to your interpretation and like, um, I think people just do their best to get through and
Yeah.
learn what they can during the
Yeah.
course. And there's always another course if you want to go back. Like it's there for you. Thank goodness it's been like spreading around the whole world. Really, it's really like expanded and people donate so much. I think that they're able to like get more land and there's dedicated people in all over that are just like making this happen for people. So um yeah, I feel so blessed that it did come into my life and I feel like it makes me it's definitely a sense of community that I have with people that, especially after being able to stay there for a few days and talk to some of the people that were working in the kitchen on the course. Um, and also I got to talk to the woman that was sitting next to me the whole time. And she stayed there. Very interesting person, like travels all around doing
The
um
one on your right side
the
or your left
one
side?
on
The
my
first,
left, the one, the
the
very
first.
front. Yeah, the first person.
Yeah, yeah. She reminds me of the Walking Dead character. Uh,
What's one?
I forgot her name, but yeah.
She was like really deep. Like she didn't notice a bunch of stuff I noticed. Like I was like, oh, I noticed that you. She laughed so hard at me. I was like, I noticed that every time you go out of the meditation hall, you grab hand sanitizer, and like she put her shoes always in the same place, and she's like, wow, you notice a lot. So I think my next goal like is to just kind of is to even go more inside and not and try not to notice like those little things about people. But I love people so much that I think it's I just notice those little things
Well,
because
yeah, I noticed like the lady, the girl sitting next to me on my right side, she kept on turning and looking towards the left to the men's side, like looking. I'm like,
wow.
dude, she got a man. She got a man over there. And then at
Yeah.
the end of the course, I was like, do you have a man over there? She's like, yeah, my boyfriend's on the same row as we were.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is one takeaway from Vispana? Did I say it
Vipassana.
right? Vipassana. Vipassana. What's one takeaway from Vipassana that to anybody that's listening right now that can learn from, or like what's one takeaway you can share with somebody that's maybe interested in taking or doing this course?
One takeaway, just if you feel called to it, it's there's a reason and uh just go, no fear, and try to follow all the rules to your best, but also don't be super hard on yourself. And definitely rest for the first few days if you feel tired. Just lay down, and if you fall asleep during the break time, try to meditate during all the meditation times. But if you feel tired, and just lay down and fall asleep, it's fine. Like I didn't even go on the walking trail for like the first 5 days, probably. I was exhausted. My mom had just fractured her femur, and I was down helping her, and I just was like I'm always so tired by the time I get there. I just want to rest as much as possible. Yeah, I would just say go for it, and bring comfortable things that you can, like, and don't be afraid to talk to the teacher and the manager. Like, just just be comfortable, be yourself, and ask as many questions as you need. It's like that's why they're there. They're there to answer your questions, and everyone has their own journey. So what one person learns in one Vipassana could be what someone else learns in 30 Vipassanas. To me, it's like dancing. That's the takeaway. Like one person could learn how to do a dance the first time, and then the other person, it could take them 30 times. Or the same with breath work. Like I've been trying to get my mom to do ujjayi breath for the longest time, and she just can't get it. But then my ex learned it like the first time. So it's just I feel like because of the whole belief in like all the things that kind of come with you when you're born, the sankharas, like I feel that some people just have easier, lighter, they're just lighter, and you meet those people in the street, you're like, oh, this person's very light, like this, or this person has a lot of heavy energy, just like, and so depending on what energy you kind of carry through your life, like that is the energy you bring to Vipassana. So just don't be afraid, and just confront it, because I think it's really about seeing reality as it is and not how you want it to be. So once you and we can't be afraid of seeing reality how it is, because that can only make your life better, and help you make choices in your life that are gonna be healthy and compassionate to yourself and to the world. It's like you develop compassion, and you can see that in all the ATs. You can see the compassion, like the depth of compassion that they have for themselves and for other people. Like it's just something that develops on its own when you practice. So that's my goal in practicing, because I do feel the compassion developing. And you know how he says, like, if um like saintly people uh are have Sheila, all the things that we Sheila, Samadhi, Panya, that we're developing. Saintly people have morality, that's Sheila. Saintly people have Samadhi, discipline. And saintly people have Panya, which is wisdom. And that's the path that I want to keep going on. And if everyone did that, wow, we would have a whole different planet.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Oh my gosh, Allison, it's been a pleasure talking to you and hearing about your experience the ninth time. So when is the time happening?
I think the next one I'm probably gonna do a Satipatthana, which is
The gratitude one?
it's a 9 day course. No, it's still
Oh,
Vipassana, but it's a 9 day course. And so it like goes from a Friday to a Friday, so you don't have to miss as much like work or school. I could
yeah.
possibly do it during the school year. Um, but before I do that, I have to serve one 10 day course. So I'll
Ah,
probably do a 10 day like serve a 10 day next summer or somewhere in between, and then also do the Satipatthana. Because I'm thinking about doing a 20 day course
oh,
after
wow. 20
after
days.
yeah,
Damn.
after
Yeah.
so I have to do Satipatthana and the 10 day serving.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know. The 20 day, apparently, I just found out, this is really interesting. I never knew this. The 20 day course, you are meditating on your own all day, and there's only one discourse at night. So it's
Wow.
not the same, like there's not that 3 days, yeah, three
Three
days,
times, three
three
times a
times a
day.
day. Yeah. So it's more independent. Like you meditate in the cell, like in the pagoda or whatever, you do it by yourself. But it's the same schedule. It's just that you have to maintain it yourself.
Yeah.
So it sounds really intriguing to me, but especially that I broke through my pain in my body, which was amazing. Like that was I guess that was probably my biggest breakthrough, is the pain. And
Wow.
then
That's huge.
yeah, and then just that, to me, that mind body connection and the unwinding of my central nervous system. And then also just the compassion of Annie to be able to like field all the students' questions, and just how my anger towards the students like shifted into like love and tenderness. That was really nice. Um so thank you for asking me all these questions, and I feel like I talked so much, but
This is
I'm so
this is about
appreciative.
you and your experience and reflection. So I'm here for it.
I'm so appreciative, because like I know I never really, I'm so glad that we'll have this to like be able to look back on too. I'm really grateful.
Yeah, yeah, because I was just talking to what attracted me to Allison, because when I was there meditating, I noticed Allison by you walking very gentle, like very calmly and like one step at a time. Like your walking was very mindful. So I noticed that about you, and you're the second person, right? You're the second person in the front row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that about you. And but I didn't know your story or anything like that until I was talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh, you should get Allison on the podcast because she's been here the 9 times." I'm like, "What? 9 times?" So I knew that I had a when I had my chance of you walking by me, I'm like, "Okay, this is my chance to talk to her, get her on here."
Yeah. I
So
really
thank you
appreciate it.
so much, Allison.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks, Rose.
yeah, anything else that you want to leave with to anybody that's listening?
Yeah, well, I want to stay connected with you, first of all. Um, and anything else, I think I said it all. I would just say if Vipassana is calling you, go for it. I've been seeing some videos on YouTube of people saying not to go and why not to go, and then there's another one that's like a day in the life of a 10 day, which is really cool because the guy, it's in India and he shows, I think it's India, but he shows everything that happens during the day. I think he made it after the course ended.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good one to watch, but the ones where people are like, don't go because of this and that, and they ask you for money and just I don't know where those people went, but I don't think it's I think they did not learn what they were
Yeah.
taught.
Yeah.
So I just think it's sad that they're going to make a 40-minute or an hour Vipassana video. Like, let people experience it. Why not to go to Vipassana? Let people experience it. It's 10 days of your life, no big deal. And it can have so much benefit if the person goes. So let them experience it themselves and watch the day in the life of a 10-day course and just see what we do every day, which I think is interesting without judgment. Don't, like, the whole thing is not to react and to be like egoless. And then the people come out and make these videos of like why they didn't like it. And it's like that's all ego right there. So it's just fascinating to me. Yeah. So don't watch those or watch them, but go anyway.
Yeah,
Go to
experience it for yourself so you know what truth, what wisdom in your own body feels like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's great words. I want to hear more about your experience too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, um,
You got to do one like somebody else that did the one day or one time, first time.
first, yeah, actually, I have a couple people that I'm gonna be interviewing. They're gonna be on my podcast, so we'll get to hear their stories
Yeah.
on my podcast.
Yeah, and then
You are
you
the first one here.
share more. Yeah, and then you can share more about yours because I love that. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to watching the other ones, and I'm so grateful for you giving us this time to talk about Vipassana.
Yes, and if people want to hear more and follow you, where can they find you at?
Yeah, so my Instagram is electric body yoga. There's no spaces, so just the word electric body yoga. That's my Instagram. And then if I can always pass people my email or phone number through there because I do check it all the time.
All
So
right. So
yeah.
connect with her on Instagram, Electric Body Yoga. And if you have any question for her, hit her up, guys. All right.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for tuning in. This is Allison and I am Rose, and we are out. Bye.
Bye.